Alright, folks, welcome back. You can see I've done a lot of work. Still quite a bit to do. But unfortunately, as always happens after a tragedy, the left uses it to demand they simply be obeyed. Last Tuesday in Uvalde, Texas, a deranged individual invaded the school, breaking multiple laws, and committed atrocious acts. As happens every time, it is just headline news for days on end, giving this criminal exactly what they want: attention. And as always, the left screams, just give up your guns, just give up your guns. I ask every time, what magical pixie dust will suddenly be created to sprinkle over the globe that will make criminals go, oh, guns are illegal, I can't use them? And every time I do that, I'm attacked as a gun nut. And I'm told I just don't understand, or I want kids dead. When I tell people I would happily stand at an entrance to any school, ensuring that I'm the one in harm's way, I'm the first person an attacker sees, and I will do all I can to stop that attacker. I'm told, you just don't understand. If we just ban the guns, they won't do it. I bring up the Bath School Massacre, 1927, the worst school attack in U.S. history. Not a single firearm used. I bring up Oklahoma City, the Edward R. Murrow building. Deadly, deadly attack. Not a single gun used. I bring up 9/11, box cutters on airplanes. Not a single gun used. Well, you just don't understand. If we would just ban guns, criminals wouldn't kill people. Of course, I bring up Chicago. If that were true, Chicago would be a utopia of peace and harmony. And they go to the same thing every time. Well, they just go to Indiana or Texas or Kansas, where they have lax gun laws. An analogy that I just started using recently. As a child, if your parents told you, do not eat or drink anything in the living room. If you do, you're going to lose your TV, your video games, your computer, your tablet, your phone for a full month, no exceptions. They then catch you with a snack and a drink in the living room. Are you able to say, well, I got it in the kitchen. It's okay to have it in the kitchen, and that's where I got it, so that makes it okay here. No, it doesn't. The law in Chicago doesn't say only the sale or purchase is illegal. The possession is illegal. Simple analogy. This is a koozie. If I tell my nephew, my parents, and my brother and my sister-in-law, and my sister and brother-in-law, and all my friends, that this item is banned from my home, does that mean if they obtain it outside my home, that it's now legal to have in my home? My rule is negated? No. I didn't say you can't buy or sell these here. I said you may not possess them here. The second you cross my doorway with one, you are breaking that rule. The moment you enter Chicago with a banned item, you break the law. It is that simple. There's a sign outside most schools that says gun-free zone. The moment you enter carrying a firearm, you are in violation of that. The sign doesn't say there's a magical shield around this school that will not prevent entering if you have a firearm. No, it doesn't. It's impossible. Criminals will not obey the law. It is that simple. If it magically made them obey the law, we would not have DWI. We would not have assault. We would not have murder. We would not have rape, theft, none of it. People would live in harmony because the law magically makes them obey it. Laws serve two purposes. They serve a purpose of telling the vast majority of society, don't do this. And the vast majority of society doesn't. Those who don't obey the law is there to tell them, here's what's going to happen if you break this law. You drive without a seatbelt, without license plates that are up to date, you speed, you're going to get a ticket. You drive on a toll road without a toll tag and without paying at the booth, you're going to get a bill for that plus fees. You kill someone, you're going to go to prison, or at least you should. The simple truth is, passing a law, sadly, will never stop criminals. It will not stop those with evil intent in their heart. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men and women to stand and do nothing. Sadly, we are prevented by our own government from doing anything because they will try to put us in prison for standing guard at a school. I firmly expect the veterans and police officers who, on their days off, sit off property, watching the school, ready to act on a moment's notice if their child and the children in that school with their child are put in danger. A simple example. Here in the state of Texas, we have what is called the 30.6 and 30.7 sign. Penal Code Section 30.06 states that you may not enter a building displaying the proper signage with a concealed handgun. 30.07 is for open carry. It must be a certain size, font, and color, displayed at near eye level for an average person. I'm 6 foot tall, 6'1" on the good day with my shoes. My eye level is above the average height. My mother is 5 foot tall. Eye level for her is a bit below average height. Average height is determined at about 5'6". So if you put this at eye level for a 5'6" person, a 5 foot tall person, gonna see it. 6 foot tall person, gonna see it. It has to be the right size and font and coloration to draw your eye to it. Now, if I enter a building with those signs posted properly, carrying a concealed or open carried weapon, I am now guilty of criminal trespass. I will be arrested and charged, and likely have my Second Amendment rights stripped from me because of that illegal activity. Another example, though, is if it is not properly displayed, nothing happens. A business near my home had a 30.6, 30.7 sign that were far too small, displayed on easels behind a lot of things in the window that made them very difficult to see. I had to get right up to the window of a ticket booth at that movie theater to see it. I only saw it because I was making a phone call after I had been in and seen the movie. And I do carry my weapon concealed. So I went back in, got the attention of the officer working that weekend. I said, "Can you come look at something for me?" And he just looked at me and said, "The sign in the window?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm not enforcing that. It's not legally displayed. It is not displayed according to Texas law. I will not enforce that law." There is a caveat to this. I'm wearing a shirt that says escapee. On the back it has an image of a man leaving a cave in the mountains. It says escape the cave. This is a reference to Plato's allegory of the cave. It is my own design. But if, say, I'm going to a very liberal college to meet someone for lunch, and they decide they don't like my shirt, they can ask me to leave. If I don't, I'm trespassing. If you are at a business that does not have the signs at all or doesn't display them properly, and they ask you to leave because they see you're carrying, you're now trespassing if you don't. Now, if they prevent you from leaving, if they scream, "You're trespassing, you're not allowed to leave. We haven't asked you to, but you're not allowed to. We're going to get you arrested." Tell the officer that responds what happened. They're not allowed to prevent you from leaving. They can ask you to leave, and you should. But here's the final caveat. If you see someone charge into a school, movie theater, bank, church, government building, anywhere at all, holding a gun, and it's not a cop, and you charge in behind them to stop them, yes, they can still tell the DA they're going to file criminal trespass charges. 99.9% of district attorneys in this country are going to look at them and say, "You want them to go to jail for stopping someone killing you." And they're not going to press that charge. The business can tell you that you're not allowed to come back, but that's really all they can do. Criminals don't care about any of this. Criminals are criminals because they don't care what the law says. They're going to do whatever they want, whenever they want. And yes, they'll probably do some time and get a fine and probation, but they're never going to care. As soon as they're back on the streets, they'll keep doing whatever they want, whenever they want. They'll do their time and go back to it. The law-abiding should never be punished for the actions of a criminal. If you want to stop mass shootings, do what jewelry stores, banks, government buildings, and other places do. Put armed security, told, Your job is to stop anyone coming in here to do harm to those already inside. You make it plain that that's their job. And you post signs saying, our employees are ready and willing and able to act to stop any threat to those inside this building. There are several school districts in the state of Texas that have a sign like that outside their door. If they're not being attacked, those with gun-free zone signs are. We already protect our government offices, our banks, our jewelry stores, our media company offices, Hollywood sets with heavily armed security. People like Bette Midler, Rob Reiner, Michael Rappaport, and more have armed security at their homes, walls around their homes. They live behind the very blanket of security they demand we give up. And they will never understand the hypocrisy. I've not been to a movie in over 2 years. The last one I saw was Spider-Man Far From Home. I went to that and bought a ticket for my friend because he bought my ticket to Endgame. That is the last time I have set foot in a movie theater. I don't watch television. I have a few YouTubers I watch, and that's it. I watch the local news to get the weather report, and not even that often. I do this because I don't want my ratings or money to go to support someone who believes I am an evil-minded monster, because I won't just bow down in subservience to them. The spirit of Patrick Henry is alive and well, but it is not as alive and well as it should be. Give me liberty or give me death. And part of that is making sure that criminals are told, if you attack us, we will stop you. Tyrants are told, if you try to subjugate us, we will stand against you. I don't understand how this is not a common or more common line of thought. But the simple answer is, it is my mantra. It is how I will live my life. And I know that one day, the WEF, the WHO, or the DNC will send thugs to every home in this country, demanding we surrender our firearms, surrender our rights, and bow to them as a tyrant. And quite simply, I will echo a character from a TV show now more than 20 years old. And I will simply tell them, it appears today is a good day to die. And I'll go out on a mountain of brass, making them work for it. When I reach the throne of God, I will kneel. When he asks why he should let me into his heaven, I'll simply say, your son died on a cross. The tyrants and their thugs, they'll say, well, I have a right, I have a right. I was a good person. I took away guns to protect people. And every one of them that does that, all they'll hear is, depart from me, I never knew you. Christ himself was not a 100% pacifist. Remember the line, if you have 2 cloaks and no sword, sell one and buy a sword. We are not to be sheep, simply wandering around. We are to shepherd our flock in his name. And simply ask anyone who raises livestock, what do you do if a wolf attacks your herd or your flock? They'll tell you, kill the wolf, kill the coyote. They don't go to that predator and say, no, I put up a fence, you're not allowed here. No, they act. They stop the threat with all due force that they deem appropriate. And anyone coming through my door, anyone threatening my family, anyone threatening children where eyes can see it, they're going to face that same response. The same response that a young shepherd boy named David had to anyone attacking the flock he was tending, up to and including a massive man named Goliath, who was sent to cow the Israelites, to cow those people and make them serve the Philistines. And that young boy named David took a simple rock and ended the threat. Sadly, the world is getting more and more dark every day. I believe we're in the run-up to the end of days, if not right in the very beginning. And very close to seeing the rapture and the second coming of Christ. If I'm still here through all of it, I'm still going to proclaim the Word of God. If I'm taken out before it, I'll proclaim the Word of God until I'm taken. And if I'm killed, then I'll make sure that I'm proclaiming the Word of God until the breath leaves my body. But I will not submit to a tyrant who tells me I must live completely defenseless because criminals use a tool that I happen to own the same type of tool. I just won't do it. The politicians are also saying that we need to pray for the families in Uvalde. These are the same politicians whose predecessors made it all but a capital offense to pray in schools. These are the same people who cheer when coaches are fired because that coach, on his own, off to the side, simply says a prayer, asking God to protect all who play in that game that night. They tell you to pray, but they don't want you to pray inside that school. I dream of the day when we have good, honest, and moral people serving in government office. I just don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. This has been a much heavier topic. And as always, discussion is open. Discussion is how we learn. Stay civil in the comments. I have and I will ban and block those who do not. As always, please make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so that you can be aware of all content I post. God bless you.